We have talked about and gone over a lot of Kirby and the Forgotten Land theories, but at the same time I feel like we've barely scratched the surface for where this lore stretches with this game. And the one thing that we haven't talked about yet is the actual people of the Forgotten Land and actually where they went. Of course we're going to actually talk about who these people were eventually, but first I'm going to talk about where they actually traveled to using their Dimensional Rift technology after working on Fecto Elfilis. And we're going to talk about exactly where did they go, where was this land of dreams, and where could this destination actually be. And thank you guys so much for your love and support on the recent Kirby videos. You guys love the Kirby lore just as much as me, and I cannot appreciate you guys any more than I do right now. Thank you so much. If you guys really enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date on all things Kirby and the Forgotten Land and all things Nintendo in general. The first thing that I want to start off with here is I do believe that they traveled to one of three places. I do believe the places are down between Planet Popstar, Shiverstar from Kirby 64, and of course Halcondra from Kirby Return to Dreamland. And I'll explain in other videos why I chose those other two, but today's video is focusing on Popstar because there's so much information with each of these, it would take literally forever for us to cover them all. So today we're talking about Popstar and why actually Dreamland is the perfect place that I believe that these people actually traveled to from the very beginning. Now let's rewind real quick and talk about exactly what happened. I know you guys have heard this story a million times, so I'll make it short and sweet. Fecto Elfilis was the ultimate life form that came to the Forgotten Land and was eventually captured by the people of this land after terrorizing the people. The people worked on him for 30 years and eventually found out how to use teleportation technology from the creature. This is known as the ultimate power by Leongar, and Leongar also mentions that the people left this world behind for a land of dreams. Now this was the first obvious clue that we got, the land of dreams, of course being Dreamland, Planet Popstar. It just kind of makes sense, and right off the bat, it was kind of like a hint already given to us. And this is the first kind of small thing that we get to kind of clarify where they actually went. But of course, it gets a lot deeper than this. Something that's actually very interesting is that Fecto Elfilis is actually able to generate dimensional rifts even when in stasis in its forego state, which is very interesting. And we've seen this actually happen, you know, in the very beginning of the game to bring Kirby and his friends in, and obviously suck in all the Waddle Dees for labor support in order to help regain his other half, Elfilin. For some reason, he chose Planet Popstar to bring these Waddle Dees in. Now, I know what you guys are going to say, and I've heard a lot of you guys say it already, is that Planet Popstar just has so many Waddle Dees, it's a perfect place for the workforce to come in. Not necessarily. There's a lot of other planets and other worlds that Elfilis could have chosen for sure. I mean, literally a lot of other ones. If you played any other Kirby games, you'll know that there's different planets, and even in Kirby Star Allies, we saw that there were multiple other planets with tons of different life on these planets as well. Then we get to see it again. At the very end of the game, Fecto Elfilis is left with no choice but to open up a dimensional rift between the Forgotten Lands and, of course, Planet Popstar itself to collide both of the worlds. Now, once again, why does he keep going back to Planet Popstar? Maybe it's just because he knew that that was the original world where Kirby came from, and he just kind of wanted to make Kirby, you know, feel pain by clashing both worlds, or maybe there's something deeper than that. I feel like there's a reason why Fecto Elfilis keeps choosing this world to pull from, because it could be the very same world that the people of the Forgotten Lands used his own power for to escape to. It would make a lot of sense. If they used his power, his dimensional rift technology, in order to take themselves to Popstar, wouldn't Fecto Elfilis actually know about this? I'm sure he'd be very aware of what they did and how they did it, and now he even has the ability to open up dimensional rifts. But the question would be, why didn't he act sooner and actually punish the people that got away if he knew where they were in the very beginning? After all, we know he still had the power to open up dimensional rifts as Forgo, so why didn't he open up rifts and do damage to the people of Dreamland when he could have? Well, maybe he did. We've learned from multiple past Kirby games that Planet Popstar is a backwater planet. Not many people understand why there's so many powerful creatures that live on Popstar, such as Kirby, and even Susie from Planet Robobot has questioned why somebody as strong as Kirby actually lived in such a remote location. It almost seems like Planet Popstar is just a place that was literally a land of dreams just for people to live peacefully at one time, and they probably did for a long time until maybe Forgo stepped in. So you might say, where did they go? Where's all the people? Well, Forgo might have had a lot of them killed off through his power. We know Forgo has the ability to cause dream manipulation. For instance, he can use his own dreams to create shadow beasts and tons of creepy creatures, and it sounds a lot like nightmares, does it not? Or maybe the nightmare. One of the very first threats that Popstar has ever received was probably Nightmare. Nightmare had the capabilities of pretty much just giving everybody in Dreamland nightmares, and kind of running Dreamland with its nightmare enemies and creatures. And maybe this was all that Fecto Forgo could actually do in the state that he was currently in, by just torturing the people of the land. And maybe some of these beasts were strong enough to kill off most of the population, if not all of the population of Dreamland. Of course, this doesn't mean anything, I just thought it was a cool little thing to point out, but they both have very similar headpieces as well, with their antler-like antennas coming out of their hats or crowns or whatever they're wearing. I just thought it was a pretty cool coincidence, and I don't know, maybe it's some type of thing that Forgo designed based off of his ultimate form. It is interesting that we never do find out where Nightmare actually came from. He just appeared randomly and decided to start targeting Dreamland out of all places, which this could maybe came from Forgo from the Forgotten Lands in the first place, which would be a very cool, interesting tidbit. But we still don't know what the people of the Forgotten Land actually look like, and we don't even know what residents of this world could look like, actually. So we gotta go off of things that we've seen so far, and if we base them off anything, they probably look like Waddle Dees. And we've also seen the Haltman Works Company, the Halt Workers, and of course Kirby Return to Dreamland also having enemies that looked very similar to that of Waddle Dees in the form of Halcondrians. So it's very possible that the Waddle Dee might be a long-lost descendant of the Ancients, or maybe some type of evolution of what they turned to be, which also would make King Dedede part of the Ancients and part of the last civilization that colonized from Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and those Forgotten Lands that they came from, which is very interesting. And if the Waddle Dees are actually long-lost descendants of those that used to live in the Forgotten Land, it would make a lot of sense why Forgo actually chose to pick the Waddle Dees as his main slave force, as the people that were going to run the machines in the lab in order to get him whole again. It's very interesting. So maybe this was a way for him to get back at the people that did him so dirty. He wanted to conquer this land easily, but they ended up trapping him and leaving him here for many years, and this was his one way to get back, is to make them his slaves and also to destroy Popstar once again, as his last resort when fighting Kirby at the end of the game. There's a very good chance that the people of this world once decided to finally move away and find a land of peace, and they unfortunately didn't find peace. There's never really truly a full peace. No matter where you go, you are going to find trouble everywhere, and there's always going to be someone out there that's a bad person, or someone out there that's going to try to defeat you. So maybe the people of the Forgotten Land did venture to Popstar, and eventually rose the Waddle Dees, which are the evolutionary line of the people that once lived here. Who knows? This is definitely just a theory, and there's still two more options that I have in future videos, with obviously being Shiverstar and Halcondra. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys got any future information that you'd like to share on the future planets that we could have seen these people travel to, such as Shiverstar and Halcondra, let me know in the comments down below your theories, or if you want to elaborate further on the Popstar theory, let me know as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys. I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.